Joe Biden's return to multilateralism. How significant a step is it?
It's very significant, but one should not overestimate the differences in U.S. foreign policy from president to president. I mean, there are many style-type differences, but there is also a continuity. And this is especially true when there is a rules-based international system, as is the case and has been the case since the end of the Second World War.
Why are countries like Australia, India, South Korea and South Africa, much smaller economies, why are they also taking part in these G7 talks?
Well, that's not a surprise at all. All of them, in fact, are members of the G20. And the G20, a Canadian creation, by the way, CG, which you mentioned was quite important in that, has been to have countries that are systemically relevant, that in a way help first with the finance issues, that's how it was created, and now with every issue. There are summits of the G20, and all these countries have held them, except India, which held a finance meeting in 2002 and will host the G20 in a couple of years. So these are countries that are smaller than other countries, no doubt about it, but they are by no means irrelevant to the international system, and they have a room at the table. There is no surprise at all.
You said there's no surprise that there's room at the table for them, but it's interesting because the UK's Foreign Secretary made a strong statement suggesting a shift towards like-minded countries, perhaps those systematically relevant ones that you're talking about. I mean, what do you think he's getting at then?
Oh, it's very interesting that you should say that, because it proves my point that sometimes, you say things are the same, but the style is different. I mean, how more different could be the styles of the US presidents? So again, in these things, it's important to appreciate the style, but it's important to look at the substance underneath. And so it's no surprise that everybody says, oh, now it's different. And it's the role of observers such as myself to say, well, the tie has a different color, but, the policy has not yet changed. And in a way, so much for the better, because with this pandemic, it would be really difficult to understand that rulers of the world will start bickering as if we were in a normal state. We are in a pandemic still.
OK, so you're saying that the cast has changed, but we're still reading from the same script, if you like. I mean, how is that message likely to be received in Russia and China, who might be wanting for a softening or a change in their relationships with the international community?
I frankly think is that they are fully aware of these differences in, as I said before, in the color of the tie, and that they are part of the international system in a very similar way. Russia was part of the G7 for a time. China was invited to the G7 in 2000. I mean, again, each country, especially systemic countries such as Russia and China, they cannot avoid being part of the rules-based international system. And so the fact that they are in one meeting rather than the other, to me, frankly, is a secondary compared to the fact that they meet together rather often as well.
Well, Jorge Braga de Macedo, always a pleasure hearing your thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you.